Hey guys, it's Cal from the Lighting Doctor here. We're on another project here in Calgary. It's cold as hell and it's windy as hell, so hopefully you guys will be able to hear a lot of this video. I'm just going to show you a couple things that we're doing on this project that are kind of unique and I'm kind of excited about. We're not overdoing it. They've got a beautiful lot here overlooking the city of Calgary, so we're going to be taking advantage of a lot of in-ground lights to create some nice perimeter lighting. We've got a really nice patio and fire pit area that really isn't being used by them much because it's just this big dark spot out in the yard that they haven't been taking advantage of. So we're going to do some cool things to light that up with some down lighting, some up lighting, and it's just some other cool tips and some things that we're going to talk about on this project that hopefully you guys can bring on to your projects. So guys, as I walk you through this project, I'll walk you through the steps. Obviously one of the first steps is you got to come up with a design, and we'll help you with that with our free design consultations, which you can get by just emailing some pictures to cal@lightingdoctor.ca. We'll have a look at your property and come up with a plan of how many lights you need and help you size your transformer and everything. I'm not going to go into too much of the transformer today. If you want to learn more about how to size it properly, go to YouTube, search Lighting Doctor, how to size your transformer. There's a whole bunch of videos explaining that, but once you've got your lights selected, the transformer is one of the next steps that you have to figure out. You need to figure out how big a transformer you're going to need. And on a project like this, we've only got about 14 lights or so. We're running about 90 watts, which in this case, we've got a 150 watt transformer. So we've got plenty of room on this for future expansion. You always want to make sure that whatever size transformer that you're using, it's 20% more than the actual wattage of the lights that you're putting in, because not all lights run at the same efficiency, meaning although it might say it's a 5 watt light, sometimes it might use 7, 8, 9, even sometimes 10 lights. The cheaper the light, generally the less efficient it is, and the more wattage it actually uses than what's on the box, and that's where you can kind of run into some voltage drop issues and things like that. And same thing, if you've got questions about voltage drop, just go to YouTube, Lighting Doctor, voltage drop. I've got a really good example of that, or you can go to you can search for how to wire with the wiring diagram, and you'll also find a really good one where I talk about voltage drop. But once you've got that selected, they're really easy and there's not much to them. Any good stainless steel transformer is going to have a couple taps. Sometimes you'll have a multiple tap transformer where you have one tap is for common wire, one is for usually like 15 volt, 13 volt, and 14 volt. Those were a lot more relevant when you were putting in halogen systems. Now with LED, you don't have to worry about that as much. If you're ever in question, use the largest tap, use the 15 volt tap, because that means you're going to start with the most power and you can lose more down the line and still get those lights to work properly. Another question I get all the time about transformers is if I've got, so for this example, we're basically just daisy chaining all the lights. We've got them starting from here and we're just going in sequence around the whole property and putting them all sequentially. But sometimes you might have a load of lights that way and a load of lights that way, and you don't want to have to run wire all the way around the property. So can you run more than one set of wires out of this? And yes, you can. Generally, the terminals in any of the bigger transformers is going to be large enough that you can put 2 sets in here, so you can have wires running out to one direction and wires running out to the other direction. And as long as the wattage still meets up to fit your transformer, so again, if you have 100 watts of lights and you have a 150 watt transformer, well then you're well under that. And by going and running a line out this way and running a line out that way, you also reduce your chances of voltage drop, because now if you're just putting 50 watts on that line and 50 watts on that line, you can run more wire and lose less voltage along those lines. So again, if you're ever in question, feel free to split that line. But a general rule of thumb, you can usually put 100 watts on a 12-2 wire up to 250 feet out without really running into any voltage drop issues, as long as you're starting with a 15 volt tap. So the last thing I'm going to talk about transformer wise is how to make it more effective, or what I like to call a smart transformer or a Wi-Fi based transformer. It's really easy to do. If you have a transformer like this, there's usually an option for a photocell. I don't like to use photocells because then you got to be careful where you put that transformer. If it's in a shaded area, your lights are going to be on all the time, and photocells typically fail quite frequently. So I don't like to use them, so I usually don't even worry about that. But what you will find is a lot of times you'll have a plug in here, and what that's for is to put some kind of timer. So what you can do with that is you can get pretty much any kind of timer. You can even get like a Christmas lights timer that you plug in, and you basically plug it into there, and then you plug that into the bottom. So for example, if you can see here, we're using a Wi-Fi timer, and the only reason we plug it into here as opposed to in here is just there's not enough room in this box. But you can use virtually any outdoor Wi-Fi timer, plug it in there, plug that in, and then you can operate it wirelessly. What we do with this one is, just because it doesn't fit in here real well, we just plug that in, we plug the transformer into here, and basically what we do is we just bypass the transformer, and we time everything with this via a simple app. This one is from Wion, but there's lots of other ones. So if you have a smart home system, it might be worth checking out if they have an outdoor Wi-Fi plug, because then you can use that and you can have your lights working on the same smart home system that you already have. I like this one because I know it works well outdoors. You know, we're in Calgary, Canada, where it gets down to -40, and I know it still works. So I like that one. I like the fact that it has its own app. So it's very easy to operate. I don't need any special hubs or anything, and it works with Alexa, so you can just tell your lights to come on, which is kind of a cool feature as well. So in this area here, we kind of got 2 points of interest that we're gonna focus on, and we're really gonna take advantage of this tree that's behind me here. So we got this beautiful tree with all kinds of limbs, and then on this side here, we got a great barbecue fire pit area, but there's a lot of hardscapes in here, and it's gonna be tough for us to light a lot of these things. So we're gonna do a couple things. One, we wanna take advantage of this tree that's behind us. So what we're doing is we're gonna be uplighting it with a couple different lights, because there are so many limbs and it is a wider tree. We've got 2 uplights that are going to light both sides of this tree and really spread that light up into those limbs. And then we're also going to be throwing some downlights from the top that are going to be shining down for a couple different purposes. One is to highlight the area around the tree. 2, we've got these great big boulders, this retaining wall with these beautiful rocks, but it's going to be very tough for us without having to drill through a bunch of rocks to get any kind of light in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to light those from above using the downlights from the tree. The other cool thing about that is that we're going to have some of that light is going to shine through the branches. So kind of like you see right now with a lot of the shadows that are on the cement, you're going to see that same effect at night. So it's something I love doing whenever we have a chance to do something like this. So again, with one light, we're not only highlighting the tree from up above, we're highlighting the barbecue area, and we're taking advantage of these this nice rock wall feature. So sometimes being a little creative with a different kind of light can get you a lot of effects with just one light. And although you might pay more for that one light, in the overall picture, it's a great way to keep your budget down and a little bit smaller. So I want to show you guys kind of a cool way to use some path lights. So I'm sitting in a fire pit area here, but there's all kinds of stone around me, and although we have some nice rock features behind us and some things we could light up, we're probably not going to be able to get lights into the stones to be able to properly and effectively light those up. So one of the options often that a lot of people will do is they'll just surround the whole area with path lights. The problem with that is that I almost guarantee you, if it's a sitting area that people are going to be hanging around, your path lights are going to get knocked over, or somebody's going to trip on them, they spill a rum and coke on you. Something like that is going to happen. So a cool concept and a cool thing that we do sometimes is with these big flower pots like this. These flower pots usually have like a big drainage hole in the bottom. They'll actually run wire underneath and through, and then we'll actually place a path light inside the flower pot. And what's cool about this is a couple things. Is one, not only do you get that path light a little bit higher up, because what that does is it spreads the lights a little bit further. So if you want to make a path light illuminate a larger area, it's not so much that you get a brighter bulb in it, it's that you get it a little bit higher up. So by doing that, we're going to illuminate a larger path or a larger area than we would if we had it in the ground. The other thing that's going to happen, it's going to illuminate whatever we got inside that big flower pot. So if we've got some nice flowers and some things we want to feature like that, then it's going to highlight those. And the other thing it does, it gives us the ability to kind of put that light wherever we want. So if we decide later that we want to move this flower pot by 10 feet or 15 feet or put it in a different area, well, then we can easily go and do that, because we're going to leave some extra wire at the bottom of the pot, and all we got to do is drag our flower pot now to wherever we want it. So on a patio area like we have here, what we're doing is we got 3 of these big flower pots. We're basically going to put them in each corner. We're going to really accent them, highlight them a little bit, and then just give ourselves a little bit of extra perimeter lighting down below on the surface of the fire pit area. So it's a cool way to use path lights and giant flower pots to illuminate different areas. Yeah, so the easiest way to bury your wire, you know, a lot of guys ask, should I get some kind of machinery or something like that? I mean, if you have open dirt area and it's a brand new project and you want to trench the wire in, you can definitely do that. But realistically, a flat spade like this, I find goes a lot quicker than anything. And basically you just jam it in the ground, loosen up the soil a little bit so you can get that wire, you know, a good 6 to 8 inches down there. And I just use a simple little tool like this. I don't even know what it's called, but it's basically like a long screwdriver that's got a couple prongs that I can just push that wire deep down into the grass and get it nice and far down there, so I don't got to worry about it coming up. I don't got to worry about it getting hit by anything, and I'll save you a lot of trouble having to go rent equipment and so on.